This is J. Krishnamurti's third discussion with teachers at Brockwood Park, 1974.
I think we left off yesterday what I would do confronted with students who are conditioned, and we know what the meaning of that word is by now. What would I do? I think that's where we left off. Wasn't it? Yeah. I think I would be concerned not with the immediate action, but rather with the whole life of the student, from the moment he comes here till he dies. The whole of that. Whether he's here for 4 years or 5 years and goes away and the rest of his life he spends outside in a rotten world, I would be concerned with the totality of his existence, in which is included the cultivation of memory as knowledge, his sexual life, his suffering, his conflict, his fears and his innate pursuit of pleasures and so on. I would be concerned with the whole of that. Therefore, my action would be in relation to the whole, to the particular. I don't know if I'm making my... Am I?
Relation of the whole in particular.
The whole, I see, for me, the whole is more important, the whole of life, than the immediate action. That immediate action must have its relationship with the whole. Otherwise, the immediate action has no meaning. I don't know if I'm... And being concerned with the great sanity of the whole, of the totality, then what is the student's relationship to that totality, to that wholeness? I don't know if I'm conveying anything or not. Am I? If I'm building a house, I'm concerned with the whole of the house. And then I'll look to the detail. The proportions of the house, the necessary rooms, the quality and the architecture of the house, the beauty of the room, and so on, so on. And then I would go into the particular. From that understanding of the whole. I don't know if may I? To me, the whole means a life of no conflict. Which doesn't mean I go off to sleep, become a recluse, or sentimentally enclose myself into some kind of illusion. No conflict implies at all levels of my existence, physically, emotionally, intellectually, psychologically, the totality of my existence must be lived without conflict, because conflict produces insanity, neurotic activities, psychological and pathological movements, and so on, so on. So that would be my concern with regard to the whole, one of the concerns. Now, can I translate that, this sense of not having conflict at all, without going to sleep, without isolating oneself, without being afraid of being hurt, and therefore enclosing myself, or running off? To live without conflict implies a tremendous awareness, intelligence, and watchfulness. All that's implied in not just childish intimation of I'm not going to conflict. I don't want conflict. Now, how do I translate that to the student in my relationship and responsibility, in being with him in the community? Can we discuss that? Because more and more, from what we saw last night or yesterday afternoon, Vancouver Island, and the Austrian people, they are going to get a castle and all the rest of it if they can. It's going to be more and more residential, somewhat isolated, a small educational center, small or big, but it will be an educational center, both for the older people as well as for the younger people. And in that community, with the student, would I translate to the student a life that he must lead?
So how can one live in this isolated place, completely openly?
I want to find out how to do it. Completely open, aware, in touch with the world, what is happening in the world, aware of all the miseries that are going on in the world, and yet live a life without conflict. That's why my concern then is, how do I translate that in my relationship and responsibility to this, with the student, to the student?
And even to teachers.
You want, sir?
Even to teachers.
Huh?
And also to the teachers.
Of course, that's community. Community means, here we are, a small community. How do we live together and with the student without helping each other to live without conflict? And as of my responsibility as an educator in this community to the student, how do I translate that that essential, that important thing, so that the student understands it and lives it? Can we start from there? This is what you asked me, what I would do. Now, how can I, within a very short period, not take a year, but that would be, because he'll then become worse and worse, or thicken himself into some kind of attitudes and so on. Of a very short time, how can I do this? In my relationship to the student, that doesn't exclude my relationship with the others, with the older people. So it's all together. Now, my chief concern is the student. And in that, I learn how to live without conflict, in relationship with him, in interaction with him, and so on. I learn. Now, how do I help him to learn this? I can point out all the effects of conflict, logically, rationally, sanely, the division of people, class, so on, and his own ambitions which create conflicts, his own goals which bring about conflict, his own desires, and so on, so on. I can point it out rationally, logically to him. But that's not good enough. He's much too clever already. So how shall I deal with this problem, not only verbally, but also non-verbally? Come on, sir, it's your job. How would you set about it? Come on. Shakuntala, yeah. How do we set about, how would you do it? Because if we don't succeed in this, succeed in quotes, we are not real educators. We are not absolutely involved in something totally new. We just repeat what the other schools have done, or a little better, a little worse, or so on. But this is something entirely different, and we have to answer this, at least. How would you answer this? How would you translate to the student, both verbally and non-verbally, the necessity that she should live without conflict, which implies not having shocks mentally, physically, emotionally, not be caught in any pattern and then has to break that pattern. All that's implied in this not having conflict, it isn't just physical conflict. The idea and then the adjustment to the idea is a conflict. So it involves a tremendous lot. And how do I, as a teacher, convey this to him and see that he lives it, not just convey it, verbally or non-verbally? How do I do this? Come on, Shakuntala, it's your job. It's our job. Or you answer it, some of discuss it. Because don't say, I must be without conflict. That's understood.
To do this without conflict.
To do this without conflict in myself and with the student, and learn in my relationship with the student how to live without conflict, myself and the student. Because I think part of this maturity, which we were talking about yesterday, is this sense of freedom from conflict. Because conflict does wear out the brain cells more and more and more and more, obviously. And, as we said, it's only a mind that lives without conflict can mature, slowly go on endlessly till it dies naturally. So as an educator, I'm concerned with that. I want the students to live 90 years without conflict and die happily. How can I translate this to him? What shall I do? Is this a problem to you? Huh? Is this? We're all quiet, I don't know. Oh, Mr. Joe, come on, sir.
Well, to make it more concrete, can we look at one of the major types of conflict that arise in a situation with the student?
Yes. Take any... Now look, Ted, be careful, because the moment you take a concrete example, and then you have to know the cause of it, and there are not single cause but multiple causes for any action. Multiple, not just one. So you will get, in the examination of the multiple causes, lost. I don't know if I'm conveying this. So I want to approach it in a totally different way, not causation effect and many multiple causes which bring multiple effects and so on, all the complexity of causes. I don't know. I wonder if I'm conveying. Look, I'm your student. How would you translate this? How would you help me? It's your responsibility. You are burning with it. You follow? It is a reality to you. It's not a theory. It's not an ideal. It's not something that you kind of fabricate out of your own desire. It is a human necessity. The more intelligent you are, the more the less you have conflict. It's only the savage, the uncivilized human beings that have this enormous amount of conflict. You're convinced, it's your life, you're convinced that now, how would you translate that to me? How will you help me? I'm your student.
Your how is difficult for me to verbalize.
Help me.
Because
I'm your student now. Show me how to do it, how to live this.
But it's such a part of everything.
I'm telling you, sir, go to it. Don't apologize. Plunge into it.
Well, I really feel I am plunged into it. But I still find it, except through talking a great deal, I find it difficult to verbalise particulars or hows and whys, and I don't see the value of
So within a
explaining.
fortnight you're going to have those students. And you have to convey this to them from the very first day.
Yes, I feel that very much.
Therefore, how will you do it? How will you show this to them? So that say, by Joseph, I'm with you entirely. It's such a lovely thing to do.
Well, for me, the responsibility, this acute responsibility I feel in this direction.
It's all boy, but I accept all that. How will you deal with that student?
Well,
I'm sorry to
I can't
push
tell you now what I will do. I just know when the students here.
You've got to exercise your highest capacity to find this out. You have to learn, haven't you? You don't know how to do it, right? You have to learn. Wait, you have to learn. Now, let's learn together now. Right? What shall I do? You're my student. How shall I convey it to you? The urgency of it, the importance of it, the necessity of it. I can say to you, look, sir, what's happening in the world. The Hindus against the Muslims. The Hindus is just an idea Muslim is another idea, a concept. According to that concept, they are conditioned. The Arab and the Jew, the English living in an island, and the European, etc. I would show you how conflict arises through division. Division. You understand? I want to learn. We are learning. And I said, not only there is a physical division, a geographical division, historical division, and also there is a division of ideas, which bring conflict. The communist ideals, the socialist ideals, Catholic ideals, Hindu, so on. So ideas divide, and therefore conflict. Now, you get this inside your skull. So, and also there is the division between you and me. You wanting more power, more whatever it is, money, more prestige, status, an ambition. You want all that, and I want all that. Therefore, there is a division. Therefore, there is conflict between you and me. So I have to drive it inside you. Sorry, you understand? I want you to swallow it. I want you to absorb it. It must be in your skull deeply. Then I would say, now, during the day we're going to watch it. During the day, we're going to watch whether you and I express this division. In games, we'll play games, the first class of games. But the division, whether we can play games without the division.
Which doesn't mean you all play on the same team. Which obviously doesn't mean you all play on the same team.
Same team, or be excellent. Wait, so watch it during the day. And watch your appetites during the day. Physical, psychological, intellectual appetites. I want more, you must have less. You follow this battle. And I will go into the question of knowledge. That interests you? Knowledge. I say, look, knowledge, if you live in knowledge, and that's the only field from which you operate, then that's one of the major factors of division. I don't know if you understand this. I know and you don't know. I am the teacher, the guru, the enlightened one, the savior, and I'm going to save you. Which is my knowledge, my experience, my understanding is going to be conveyed to you. It isn't together. You follow?
Yes, I understand.
It is always me and you. I will watch. I say watch during the all day. Watch it. Don't watch it self-centeredly. Watch it. Play a bit around. You learn much more when you're playing around and watch. So I'll talk. So I'll go into that. Physically, how we want to be like everybody else. Long hair, short hair. So conflict implies also conformity. You follow, sir? I'll go into this. I'll do this every day. Different ways. Invent different. You follow? So it doesn't become monotonous. And we are doing it together. Movement is together. Not I tell you and you tell me, but we are doing the thing together. So we are cooperating together.
Yes, and there's no fear attached to the...
Yeah. So you see, that brings your different vitality into you and to the student. When it is together. I don't know if I'm convinced.
Yes, and it's not a separate thing from the teaching of mathematics or anything, it's a part of it.
Together we are doing it. Moses, come on, come on. I would begin physically. Things I know physically. I say, physically, don't compete. Don't say I must be as beautiful as that woman or that man. Be what you are. That is beauty in that. I don't know if I'm talking.
Well, as a student, I could take the position that I want to raise an objection. I want to put my opinion in here.
Put your opinion.
I'll say my opinion is that competition improves me and makes everybody better, so that we should compete.
Is that so?
I'll say I think so.
We have accepted that.
This is not my opinion.
No. We'll
Right.
take it as your opinion.
Fine.
Is that so? We have accepted that as a traditional thing. But is it a fact? To compete.
Yes, it's a fact, I could say. It's a
Is
fact,
it?
sure. We look at the Olympics and everybody gets better every year. They run faster,
Yes, and then
they
walk,
run longer.
Run faster and faster and faster and more.
Sure. Oh, well, everybody's improving, getting better.
No. All right.
Also get worn out.
You are competing, England is competing with Japan. Or Germany, as it is happening now.
And we have to get better, or we're going to lose.
Is it better? Are we getting better? Or we are destroying each other?
Leading to insanity.
See, I'm saying that my brain, or I may not be able to handle what you're saying to me. It's fine if I understand it, but if I have a complete misconception...
Therefore, we have to learn. I say, all right, put your ideas forward. Let's discuss it. Competition is necessary. Is it? Cooperation would save humanity now, right? Because each country is concerned with itself.
Well, I agree. I happen to agree with you.
No, don't agree.
But I don't know if it's... Do you want me to pursue this?
You can easily pursue,
Yeah.
but it won't be real.
Yeah,
It's theoretical.
It's too theoretical.
Theoretical. No, but you see what competition has done to people, to groups of people. My guru is better than your guru. Attitude. It destroys cooperation. And we need cooperation right throughout the world. Isolated India trying to solve its own problems. Isolated Germany, all the rest of it. So it's simple enough, right? I will start physically. As I said, I would start physically with the student. See, I would talk to him about his appetite, physical appetite. I wonder, physical appetite in the sense, more food. I say, look, what you're eating, learn whether you are eating out of real necessity, or is it a habit that you have cultivated? And therefore you must have more. Does eating more give you more energy or less energy? You understand? Huh? So experiment with it. Let's experiment. I'll eat as much as you do. Let's find out. So you follow, it gives me an energy of discovery. And also I would say, are you competing in your looks with somebody else? Are you trying to imitate somebody else physically? Are you trying to conform to the pattern which society say is beauty? Are you following all this?
It may not be in the form of, say a person is physically attractive already, but then they extend this to some other,
yes,
like maybe a very good athlete or something that...
What have you done?
I just cut my hand. Like, let's say a good athlete, you see, or some, like a fad now is this karate and things. Now, the person may be attractive, but they see a greater extension in this.
That's it. That's a competition, you see.
Yes, oh yes. And see, I've heard it expressed this way, in a student expressing it to another, that by being so good at something, then I will fear no one.
That's it.
And I will be free of fear.
Fear, that's quite. So I would begin with the physical. And how the physical reacts. Controls the mind, shapes the mind. Because if I am concerned with my physical body all the time, my mind is also concerned with physical matter. I don't know if obviously. So I would go into it.
The fact that you're using the word attractive straight away says, I want to draw people to me.
To me, of course, to attract. So that means, can I live a life without comparison? Physically, psychologically, intellect, and the whole of it, without comparing. After all, the saints are the record breakers. Sorry. Because that it is there. Their very structure is that. And can the student, I would talk to him about it. I would say a great deal about comparison. Physical comparison. He is beautiful, I am not beautiful. He is attractive, I must be attractive. If this begins. So I would go into it. I would say, look, don't do it. Talk to him, point out what he does. It's the same in a class where B is compared to A. Then you destroy B. When B compares himself with A, B is destroying himself. So you follow, so I've got a whole field where I can teach him, learn.
Can I ask you a question on that point, B and A, where B says, well, in fact I am not, but what I have discovered that it's my nature and need, naturally, to develop physically. For example, and that I don't see it as attraction.
No,
now
develop physically, but also develop mentally, psychologically. It isn't just physically. It's like having a good body, a lovely house, nothing inside. What's the point of it? Like all these Miss Europe and Miss America and Miss whatever it is, lovely or whatever they call them, nice bodies or not nice bodies, and they're what? God's sake. It's like these kings all dressed up, strip them, and they're nothing.
Well, what if I take another attitude, or that I understand everything you say completely. I have no conflict with you. My head is, my physical and mental development is really fine.
But are you in conflict?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
And then all right, oh boy, that settles it. But I'm going to watch you.
Right.
I'm going to watch you. I'm going to watch you in your class. I'm going to watch you when you eat. I'm going to watch you when you play. I'd say, look, you said that. Look what you're doing.
What are you always watching me for, I might say?
What?
I said,
Because
you're always watching me.
I watch everything. I watch the butterfly. I watch you. I watch myself that way too.
Wouldn't that already be a sign of conflict if I say to you, why are you always watching me? It makes me feel uncomfortable. It's a sign of conflict.
He's only joking.
Yes, I understand, but it's not entirely
Well,
true.
I'm trying to get to a situation where a student, when you approach them, or anyone, of course, you approach, or you're being approached continually, and then fear starts to come up.
No, that's my job. I'm being older. I would tell him right from the beginning. I'm going to watch myself. I'm watching others. I'm watching everything. I like to watch. And it's my responsibility to help you to learn how to watch.
But this scrutiny may cause a fear. May cause
I watch. That if my watching causes fear, either I'm watching wrongly, critically, wanting to catch you out, or I watch you to see how you are, like a doctor watches you. Doctor watches you to see that you are in good health. You're not afraid of the doctor. Unless you're afraid of being operated on, that's a different matter. But you're not afraid of that. You go to him.
You could go into why he minds being watched.
Oh, of course. Moment you are in relationship with that student, he has opened the door. You follow? And you can enter that door.
And it's together. It's not a matter of me watching the specimen.
No,
who's being watched. It's nothing to do with it.
So can we do this? Not only I, as a single teacher, but together as a group of people, in relationship with the student and in relationship with each other, can we do this? I want you to live a life without conflict. I've been talking about for 50 years. It is not.
Sorry, but to get back to what you were saying before, it seems the greatest problem is to watch without being critical.
That's only partly, sir. That's only partly. To watch, I'm watching that wasp being caught in that glass. It wants to get out. I watch it. If I can help it, I'm going to help it. I took out half a dozen this morning. In the same way, I watch. There is not critical watchfulness. It is not a watchfulness of admiration or praise or flattery or pleasant watch. I just watch.
The watcher by itself is watched in this process.
Of course, I watch myself. I said to you, I'm not only watching you. In that watching, I'm watching myself. How I'm reacting to you. It's a watchfulness all round.
Cannot bring out fear then.
One may not be oneself aware of one's criticism. Perhaps
Therefore, if I'm a student, I'm going to find out. I might come and say, sir, you're watching me, but I'm watching you too.
During the gatherings, which he was doing a certain
thing intent, certain behavior, and I watched him do it, and immediately I sensed that it was wrong, what he was doing. And I tried to look at, was I just reacting to it with annoyance that I thought it was wrong, or was it basically wrong what he was doing? And I approached him with it, and he had dozens of reasons why he felt it wasn't wrong. And then I was sort of left with the feeling that I hadn't approached it, rather than approach it with the idea that I used the word that what he was doing was wrong.
No, just a minute. I understand. I've got a habit. You watch me, and you find I have a peculiar habit, whatever it is, twisting my nose or scratching my hair or putting my tongue out or whatever it is. And you want to break it. Because you see any kind of habit is a deterioration factor. Mental habit, a physical habit, follow? It's like a machine just going around and wearing itself out. You see that. And I have a particular habit. And you want me to break it within a very short period. I've done it in 3 days. A physical habit, I can break it. I've done it. It's quite easy. Now, you want to help me. How will you do it? A physical habit. Mental habits are much more difficult. It is much more attractive. It gives you security, all kinds of things, mental habit. Now, here is a physical habit a student has. How will you break it? And you have discovered it, I haven't discovered it. And I said, it's all right. So I like that habit because it's nice. Or I have enjoyed it somehow. Who the hell are you to come and criticize me? And so on, so on, so on, so on. Now, you see intelligently that if any kind of habit, mental, emotional, psychological, physical, is a factor that makes the mind dull. Any habit, obviously. Now you see that, you understand it. You're trying to stop your own particular habits. Now how will you help me to break it down? Come on, so discuss with me.
Well, first of all, your approach must be such that
don't preach to me.
No. My approach.
What will you do?
I will not be judgmental or critical.
No, you watch. I've got a habit. You want to help me to break it down. What will you do?
Well,
come, act now.
Are you aware that you've got this habit?
I've got a habit.
You're aware of it?
You are aware of it. I'm not. Wait, listen carefully. I've got a habit. By watching me, you have discovered the habit. Physical, psychological, whatever it is. For the moment, physical. And you say, look, you have understood the importance of not having habits. Because, you see the reason why, do you?
Yes.
And you understand the necessity of a mind that is not caught in a habit. And I am your student. And by watching me, you have found that I've got this habit. And it's your responsibility to break it down. How will you do? Proceed. Proceed with me.
Start off by discussing with the student about habits.
Louis, I'm here, sir. I'm your blasted student. Go on.
I have a blasted student who isn't able to sleep at night. And we've taken her to the doctor, and still she doesn't sleep. And so she gets up very late in the morning, and she doesn't come to the morning meeting, which she really quite wants to come to.
I wonder what it is.
Well, that's what we've been trying to find out for quite a long time.
Is it fear? Is it has he got peculiar dreams?
She just doesn't sleep.
But doesn't she also drink coffee quite late?
No,
she doesn't.
No, I'm just. Wait,
she wants to go
I don't know what it is. Don't mention names or anything. Or he or she. Now, is it that in sleep, however short, there are dreams which threaten him? Is it overeating, over-exercising, over-talking, over-indulging, you follow, during the day, and that stimulates him so much they can't sleep? Or the parents have said something or acted in a way which might upset him, therefore, you follow? One has to go into all this.
We have been into it.
Then what did you find?
Well, it still goes on.
Now, why?
We've gone into it with her together, individually, many of us.
Apparently you haven't found it.
No, we haven't.
Therefore,
but it hasn't been found in a year.
Why not?
I don't know why not, because we haven't found it. It still goes on.
Was this her pattern before coming to Brockwood?
Yes, it was.
It's since childhood.
So
she's established a pattern for herself.
That is the trouble.
She goes to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning.
And she wakes up at 9 or 10.
No, I go, it's fairly simple, this kind of thing. I can't discuss, because if you can't sleep as a student, I would talk to you about it. I would go into it enormously. Or rather, listen to everything he or she has to say to me.
That's not the problem. She can't sleep. She sleeps from 2 to 9. What she wants to change. She can't sleep. She can sleep late.
No.
She sleeps from 2 to 9. You want to change the hours that she's sleeping.
There must be some reason, something that's preventing her.
If she gets up at the normal pattern of everybody else, doesn't she eventually get so sleepy that she shifts her pattern to get enough sleep? It didn't work.
We actually, with her cooperation, she agreed to get up when she was called and came down in a semi-conscious sort of state. But, I mean, that's she using our energy to do something. I mean, that's no answer at all.
No. Look, you're taking a case which we can't possibly discuss unless that person is there and deal with him directly.
In discussing habits with anybody, particularly young students, it seems to me that you would have to go into what is a habit. In other words, it's our habit to have a morning meeting, to have lunch at 1.
You're extending too much. I want to
but the student will need to have this area explored.
And we are doing it now.
What is a habit?
What is a habit? I've got a peculiar habit of picking my nose or whatever it is. We won't enter into the whole structure of habit, which requires a great deal more inquiry. Habit. How will you deal with my habit, which you have discovered, which I haven't discovered? Because I'll go on doing it. How will you prevent it? Go on, sir.
Do you know you have this habit first?
Huh?
First, I would ask you if you knew that you know you have this habit.
If I don't, no, sir. Have I got a habit?
Yes, I've noticed it.
Have I got a habit? You say yes. You tell me, sir, how you would deal with it. Here I am. For goodness sake.
Let's look at the fact of this habit.
Look, old boy, I am here. I've got a habit.
Correct.
And you are facing me and telling me what to do. How do you proceed with this thing?
I think we are proceeding.
Huh?
I've got a habit too.
No, please, you're
going about exposing your own habit.
You are going off the main point.
But is it going off the main point if you approach the student by saying, I have a habit?
of crossing my legs when I sit down because it's comfortable, even though I've been told it stops the circulation.
All right. Now,
So
how will you stop that? You cross your leg, and you have been told by the doctor, by people, by friends, don't do that because the leg that you've crossed doesn't bring proper circulation, and you keep on doing it. Now, how am I, as a teacher, to help you to stop that habit? Go on, sir. Tell me.
Well, unless you point out that it's dangerous, I don't think I would stop the habit.
You pointed out to me that it stops circulation and therefore I'll have varicose veins and all this, that, the other. And next morning I do the same thing. Here you are. You are all doing it.
So I don't think I would talk to the student about it if he was actually doing it there and then. I think that would create a reaction immediately.
No, I'm talking about my habit to the student.
Wait a minute.
In order to show the student the significance of habit.
Then the student
And
is
then
likely to say, what are you going to do
his
about
habit and say, now, I've noticed also that you have a habit of going...
Look, Miss Pratt, that's not my question. I've got a habit. You have noticed it. Hmm?
Well, I'm not in a position to condone, to do anything about your habit if I'm going about
I am,
habits
no,
myself.
I'm your student. Please don't play around with your habit first and my habit second and all together
Well,
habits.
it's the problem of habit, sir. Your habit or my habit.
I
makes no
am
odds.
talking about a physical habit which you have noticed in me. Leave everything else aside for the moment. How will you help me to break down that habit?
So could we say with this question of the circulation, the child won't understand if you say it's bad for him, but perhaps we could discover what it means circulation and go into the question of circulation.
Yes, I told you. I said it's bad for your circulation, boy. It gives you arthritis, gives you paralysis, it gives you...
If we learn about circulation...
Yes, I'll teach. I said circulation is bad for you, but yet he does it because it has become a habit. You follow? It has become a constant habit. He's seen his father, he's seen everybody do it, therefore he does it. And you have to teach him, help him to do it without conflict.
He doesn't get rid of it.
Huh?
He may want to
Out
get
of
rid
the
of it.
love of peace. This is becoming absurd. How will you help me? I've got a habit.
I'd say, what are you doing when you're doing it? First, I would do that. And this has happened to me. And this is in the
And
sense
I'm not
that
interested in you.
Right.
I'm not interested in you. I mean, you are interested in me.
So I'd say, what are you doing?
As a teacher, you have discovered that I've got a habit. Now you want to say, look, I want to help him to break that habit. How will you proceed? Stick to that simple thing.
So I don't think it's sufficient to think in verbal terms. It's what we seem to be doing.
You have to convey it to me.
But right now we're thinking in verbal terms.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling me I've got a habit. No, proceed, so you're missing my...
Well, isn't the point that to proceed, you proceed without conflict?
Look, Ted, you have made life a life in which there is no conflict. That is essential. And you want to convey it to me. And you're going to convey it to me through observation. You're watching. And I've got, in your observation, you discover I've got a peculiar habit. And you want to help me to get over that habit without this single effort. Without conflict. Say, I must not, and therefore restrict myself. I watch it, and I say, oh my God, I'm doing it, I must not. So how will you help me to do this without conflict? Stick to that one thing.
Habits are not intellectual things, and therefore one cannot do it on this level.
Obviously, I've got physical habit. Come on, sir, you'd help me. Come on, Shakuntala. How would you proceed? Don't dodge this. I've got habit, therefore I can't help you. And you want him to get it over as quickly as possible. An interesting problem, this.
I think if it's approached as a problem, then it's a problem. It's not a. It's a question of perception.
Tell me what to do. You're all dodging it. Come on, Mr. Joe.
Well, look at it. Do you have a habit?
Yes,
you are aware of it.
You have discovered it. I haven't.
So I'm asking you.
No.
Do you see it?
You see it. Tell me about it.
I'm telling you. I'm asking you. Do you see it? Yes. No. Or shall I point it out to you?
What do you mean by habit? Go on. Tell me. I'm asking you. What do you mean by habit?
You have a.
Are you condemning it? Because if you are condemning it, you also have that maybe.
Surely.
You're not condemning it, are you?
No, not at all.
So you say, all right, I'm not condemning it.
But this is an interesting thing which you do habitually.
Yes, show me, sir. Go on, proceed.
With doesn't seem to have any rational basis.
Proceed, sir, please. Tell me. You tell me. Look, you've got a habit. Have you noticed that habit? Then what next? Go on, sir. Explore. Do teach me.
Why do you do this?
But it's a habit. I'm not aware of it.
Well, it's a very simple thing. Why aren't you aware of it?
Therefore, proceed. Therefore, you say first, or you say, are you aware that you have got a habit? She said, no, sir. Now I say, what do you mean by being aware? Do you know, you use that word aware. What does it mean? What do you mean, sir, by saying aware? Go on, sir, tell me. I've got this habit. You say, be aware of your habit. And I say, I have no habit. You say, yes, you have. You cross your leg. That's a habit. And are you aware you are doing this? So, no, sir, I'm not aware. Then how will you help me to be aware of this habit?
When you do it in this moment.
At that moment. Follow? How will you help me to be aware at that moment of crossing my leg?
Are you interested in being aware?
I am not. Don't. That's all you are unanswered. I want you to teach me to be aware at the moment I cross my leg, because that is the moment of formation of habit. So can you help me to learn what it means to be aware? Go on, sir, help me. Go on, Sushila. Shakuntala. Gosh, this minute. Huh? Can you help me? There's a whole group of you. You're all responsible for it. To help me to get over this habit. Silence. I know what I do. You see, I don't want to tell you what I do. Heck.
Well, we all have habits.
You point out.
All of us have habits. I can recognize you walking across the field by your habit of walking.
Of course.
And but I wouldn't come up to you and say, you've got to change your way of walking so that I can't recognize you, or walk different ways every day.
Joe, please, sir, don't go off and do something.
No, I'm not.
I'm asking you, I've got a habit as a student which you have discovered. And you say habits are destructive. Right? Habits.
I mean, is your habit of walking?
No, wait a minute, it's not a habit. Wait. I'm very carefully watched. Need I go into all that?
You are carefully watched.
I'm carefully watched. I also watch myself very carefully. I knew certain dancers, very well dancers, and I knew the captain of the Alpinisti. You know what they are? They are the group of soldiers in Italy who carried weight and walked, I think 3.5 or 3 kilometers in certain period with their weight up and down the hill, all the time maintain the same speed. So he taught me a little bit of it. And I've learned so. But I need not go into all this. So, it is not a habit. Habit means a thoughtless action. An action which you repeat thoughtlessly. I know you're going to jump on me. An action which I'm unconscious. An action which has no reason. An action which is imitative, and so on. So I can give half a dozen explanations. When I walk, it is not a habit. I'm very careful about that.
Which means when something is done perfectly, it's not a habit.
I don't know. Don't. You're all going off to something else. I am asking.
Habits are senseless.
I am asking you, Shakuntala, as you are my teacher, educating me, I've got a habit. You observe it. You watched it. You say habits are detrimental. All the rest of it. Intellectual habit, repeating the same thing because your idea, etc., etc., etc. And I have this. You want to help me to get over that habit. How will you do it? Stick to that one thing. Don't expand it.
Say to the student, take the position that all habits are destructive, or are there only that it's the destructive
I'm going
habits
to find
we're
out.
after?
I'm learning.
Shouldn't we explore that with the student?
I'm learning through one habit. The inquiry through one habit, I'm going to learn the implication of habits altogether. Not just good habits, bad habits. I'm going to learn the whole structure and nature of habits. That's all.
When I'm with the student...
Huh?
When I'm with the student...
Are you with me here? I'm your student.
All right. You're crossing your legs. I would either, touch your leg or say, you're crossing your legs now. And that would be that.
You see, what would happen then? Either I resist you.
No, I wouldn't say uncross them.
No, I will resist you. I said, why not, sir? Why are you touching my leg?
If you wish to cross your legs, you may. I'm just pointing out that when we talked about it yesterday, you said that you're not aware.
I want you to do it now with me.
Your legs are crossed. We talked about...
You see...
I noticed that you cross your legs quite often.
I don't want to tell you what I would do.
But we do want to go into the issue of the conflict and the habit.
Yes. So you say, look, how would you talk to me about the whole business of habit? whole of it, not just one little habit, physical, intellectual habits, psychological habits of repetition, of holding on to an idea, and you follow habits. How will you break it down? How will you help me? How will you help the student to learn the nature of habits? Go on, say it's your job. Now tell me.
Well, Ted has got his legs crossed right now.
I know.
Why don't you get him?
I don't put up. I don't want to catch him at it. Go on, Ted. I'm interested in this. Both of us are interested. Now, I'll tell you. What is a habit? I don't know what the dictionary says. I haven't looked at it. I will later. What is a habit? I smoke. I smoke because all around me people are smoking. And I've tasted it, and it's unpleasant the first day. And because others are doing, I swallowed my wanting to vomit, but gradually I established a habit of smoking, which is conformity to a pattern, and that conformity has poisoned my system, nicotine, and the body demands the nicotine. And that's one kind of habit, right? Thoughtless, imitative action, which has poisoned my system through nicotine, and the body now says, please. So there's a battle between the desire to give it up and the battle with the body, which says, I must have that poison, otherwise I feel depressed. That's one problem. That's a physical problem. Then there's the problem, or rather, habit of the idea, the ideal, and conforming to the ideal. I listen to you, immediately I translate into an idea, and I live according to that idea. Not directly live, but I live according to that idea, which is conflict, which is conformity. When I listen to you and act, there is no conformity. It is instant action. Now wait, so that's one kind of habit. The other habit is, I am an Indian, or an Englishman, or whatever it is. That's a habit. The idea that I'm an Arab, a terrorist, or whatever it is, that's a habit. So, there are physical habits, psychological habits, intellectual habits, of which I am conscious or unconscious, or if I do meet them, I say, all right, boy, what bother with it? Everybody has habit. What is wrong? I have few and I have more, or I have more of that. It's all the same thing. It doesn't interfere with life. And you come along and tell me, look what habit does. Follow? You show me what every kind of habit is a factor of deterioration. Because a thing that's constantly repeating, wears itself out. Right? Clear? So, I've got all this, one has all these innumerable habits. Now, what will you do to break it down? I've given you the sketch of it. Not the whole picture, but a sketch of it. We can go into minute details. If we want to, we can. And now, listen. You have listened to this, right? Now, you have listened to what I have said about habits, intellectual, emotional, physical, and the varieties, the subtleness of it, the exchanging one habit for another habit. One is called good, the other is called... I've given you a little sketch of all that. You listen to it. And now, are you listening to it and forming a conclusion that you must have no habits, which would be a conclusion? Or you are listening to it and see the whole thing directly. You understand? You see the whole thing directly. Not through an ideation. I wonder what is happening? Tell me actually.
I'm seeing the habit of looking at things through ideation.
No. You didn't listen to what I've said.
Yes. But
I say to you, Ted, listen to me first. Listen. Don't form a conclusion from what you hear. Right? That's clear, isn't it? I say to you, that's a tree. Don't form a conclusion about that tree. Look. So I say to you, Ted, there are intellectual habits. That I'm British, that I'm an Indian, that I'm this, I believe in God, I don't believe in God, I'm a common... Habits, which give you a certain sense of security. Habits of belief. And there are all the emotional habits. I am good, I am not good, I must be good. I feel depressed, and for various reasons. I tell you this. And also I say, look what physical habits are. Now, I'm telling you this. How do you listen to what is being said?
I was looking directly at habits.
Huh?
I was looking directly at habits.
Are you looking at the description? Careful. Are you looking at the description?
What I was saying is going back in and out of description and fact.
No, you can't in and out. Are you looking at the description? Which is not the fact. Are you looking at the fact without the description?
Well, it seems a fact that I'm looking at the fact.
Therefore, what takes place if you are looking at the fact?
I see the habit isn't...
Wait, listen carefully. You are looking at the fact. The fact is what is happening here. Right? What's happening intellectually, emotionally. Happening, not through a description and therefore happening. You have discarded the description and only observing what is actually happening. Right? Now, what is happening? Are you aware in the sense, cognizant, fully aware, your habits of thought, habits of feeling. Oh, I don't like communists. I like my mother. You follow whatever it is. Habits. Now, proceed from there. If you are observing the fact and not the description, or through the description observe the fact, are two different things, right?
We've finished with that.
I want to be clear.
Okay.
So description has no meaning anymore. You are directly looking at that tree, not my description of the tree. So what takes place? We are directly looking at the tree and not through the verbal description. What takes place?
Do you mind if I stay with habit?
Yes, that's what I'm doing that. I realize, no, mental habits. You are no longer, you are finished with the description, you are looking directly at your mental habit. What takes place then? Move.
Well, I'm going back to the habit, but what happened when I was looking just at the habit was it stopped as an action that was sticking and causing my activity. That stopped.
No, look, have you dropped the formation of conclusions? That's a habit. The forming of conclusions is a habit. When you look at it, has the formation ended? That's the test. If it hasn't ended, you're back into description. When you cut yourself, you are there with fact, not with a conclusion. And you acted immediately. I don't know. If you had a conclusion, then you say, well, I'll postpone it, I will do this, I'll go and do something. You get the point? When you are facing the fact there is an action. But when you are dealing with fictitious description, then you're lost. Got it?
At one point you said, do you see the fact of the habit? But there was no habit to look at that point.
No, look, wait, take it up. Have you got a habit of forming conclusions? Be simple about it, yes or no?
Sure.
Oh, sure. Now wait. That's a habit, isn't it? I say to you, I say to you, live a life without conflict. Just a minute. You listen to that. And you have formed a conclusion out of it, haven't you? That is possible, not possible. Yes, it must be lived. How is it to be lived? So, when I make a statement that live a life without conflict, you have abstracted from the statement a conclusion. Right? That's a habit. Everybody does this.
Is that a conclusion?
Oh, obviously.
Now, have you made a conclusion that everybody does this?
This is what is happening all over the world. I'm a Hindu. I'm an Arab. I'm a Jew. I'm a Christian.
No, but I mean, since you haven't met everybody all over the world.
No, because I was only... Come. I'm moved. I'm joking there. Now, I say to you in a conversation, as we are now having, I say, it is essential to live with a life in which there is no conflict. I give you all the reasons. You listen to that. What do?
I try and see when conflict comes in my life.
So you have drawn a conclusion.
You're making meaning.
You are not listening to what I've said.
You mean, what do I do?
No, sir.
All right, we got to go.
I say to you, live a life without conflict. It is essential to live such a life. Because conflict destroys. Conflict brings about neurotic actions. Conflict brings violence. I give you reasonable, logical, giving you reasons, pointing out all what's happening. You listen to that. Live a life without conflict. When you listen, do you draw a conclusion from that? Or you merely listen without any conclusion? You call me a fool. Can I listen to that without saying I'm not? Oh, you are another. I am not a fool because I do this. Follow? But listen to what you say without any reaction. Reaction is a form of habit.
Use the word evaluation in this, or is that not the
same? No, I don't want to use that word evaluation.
Then if you say anything, what... how does one perceive if it is a fact or not?
I'm going to find out. Just a minute. Go slowly. The response to a description is one thing, right? Right, sir?
By response, do you mean the
I describe a lovely scenery.
A scenery which I can't see.
Yeah. And you respond to that scenery, to that description. But seeing the beauty of the sunset yourself, the country and so on, is quite different from the response to the description. Wait.
One example, because...
I don't want to take an example. That's
but you had the one. You say to live a life of conflict is destructive.
What are you trying to tell me?
Well, when you hear a statement like that, you listen.
That's all I'm saying, listen.
But...
No buts.
The but that comes in, it seems to me, is that to determine if that is so or not, one has to...
We'll come to that much later. I say to you, listen. Listen to what is said. Don't draw a conclusion from what is said. Don't make an idea of what is said. That is, don't make an idea of what is being said. But listen. Right? Right? Now, I say to you, live a life, and it can be lived, without a shadow of conflict. Which doesn't mean you go to sleep, which doesn't, etc., etc. Now, I say that to you. Do you listen to it, or do you draw a conclusion, say, is it possible, is it not possible, how am I to live it, oh, I can't, etc. You follow?
I think the words draw a conclusion are not clear to me.
Well, for me, it's like making, it's like you create a kind of meaning, you give it a kind of sense of what that means. You see, with example, with shape,
it's abstraction. The Greeks made a perfect abstraction of life. They said there's the archetype.
But for me, even to listen to you, the very word conflict makes some kind of image in me, some kind of association.
That is a conclusion.
It's an abstraction. You say the tree isn't. But a statement like this...
mean, isn't it
involves abstraction.
In the same way that a description of the sunset.
If you tell me, look at that tree, I look. I don't symbolize a tree. I don't make a picture of the tree. I have no image of the tree. I just look.
But if Freud comes in here and says to you, look at your id.
Oh,
and then you say, well, what are you talking about?
Of course.
So that he has to explain id to
He
you.
explains
Then
to
you have to handle all sorts of things about ego and superego, and you may not know what he's talking about.
Of course not.
Because he may not be talking about anything.
He may not. He may be talking nonsense.
Right. And so you...
But I've explained to you. I said, from the beginning, I said, look, conflict exists when there is division between people, between nations, and where there's conflict, there's violence, and so on. I've explained all logically, sanely, the structure of conflict, and I say to you, can you live, Mr. Joe, without a single conflict?
Well, I know no matter what I say, you're going to say, do it.
No. I say to you, how do you listen to it? Are you listening, just a minute, are you listening to the idea of the statement, live without conflict, to the idea? Or are you listening to the fact? To the fact of this enormous conflict around you.
If my life is a life of conflict, then a life of not conflict is not, and I've never seen it, I've never been in it. So any reference to a life of no conflict is not something that I have seen. It's not something that I can direct my gaze to. It's something that I admittedly have an image of.
Look, sir,
I don't have a life of no conflict.
The way I operate, this person, is this. I listen to you say to me, live without conflict. And you give me all the explanation, the reasons, etc. You've described the whole thing.
But you have a life of conflict, say, yes?
No.
You don't?
No.
So you know what that is?
Huh?
So you know what a life of no conflict
I don't know what life is without, but I know I have no conflict.
I know I have conflict.
That's all. That's all the difference. That's all the difference.
But when you have the word conflict, that's an abstraction. So what do when you say conflict, I either think of an abstraction that's conflict, or I think of an instance of conflict. Now, is that an idea?
The way I operate is, when you say, can you live without life without conflict, I don't draw a conclusion about it. I don't make an idea of it. Wait, listen to me. Listen to me what I'm saying. I don't draw an idea, a conclusion, an abstraction. The perfect life in which there is no conflict. That's an abstraction. I listen to you. I say, when you say, live a life without conflict, what takes place in me? Do you want to know?
No conclusions.
Huh? No conclusions. Therefore, how am I to tell you? I'll tell you. You're going to draw a conclusion. Don't draw a conclusion. Therefore, I'm preventing you from drawing a conclusion, an abstraction, an idea out of it. Which you say, yes, it is impossible, possible, not possible, or I must live that. when you tell me to, first you instruct me how to listen, right? To listen to what you are saying, not to the words, not to the idea, but to the fact of what is happening in conflict, to the fact, right? So I listen to the fact, not to the description, right? Following? Right? You're following me. That's simple enough. So what does that fact reveal to me? Shows me that I live a life of conflict. That's all it shows me. And when it's shown me that my life is a conflict, I absolutely don't wander away into a conclusion. I remain with that. Right? You get it? What? What are you all puzzled? You understand what I'm talking about?
So we're to the point where we understand.
Now wait, I'm coming to it. That is, you have first taught me, or I've learned from you, how to listen. Right? To listen to the fact and not to the description. The description is fictitious. There's no reality. Fact has. So you have taught me to listen to the fact only, without any reaction, saying I don't like or like, but just to listen to the fact.
You mean to see the fact through the words?
Or I put away the word and the fact. Right? The facts tells me your life is of conflict. The fact, not a conclusion that I live a life of conflict. I don't know if you see. Oh, the love of Pete. This is important, all right. This is very important, which is, I have learned from you the art of listening, right? You have taught me what it means to listen. To listen without translation. To listen without interpreting what you're saying. To listen without any form of ideation. Just to listen. Can you do it? Yes, go ahead. I don't mind.
When you're talking about an abstraction, how do I listen without any ideation?
How is it an abstraction?
Conflict. The word conflict is
I
an
tell
abstraction.
you, because you have an idea of non-conflict.
No.
Or it is justified, or it should be. You don't see the actual fact of conflict. The fact, the Arab, the Jew, the Hindu, the Muslim, the fact.
But that in itself is an abstraction.
No.
Yes.
Conflict, you say a conflict in you.
All right, those are instances. The conflict in me, the conflict in the Arab.
And that's not an abstraction. It is not an abstraction. When I'm jealous, it's not an abstraction. It is a feeling.
Therefore, when you say conflict, the reality of that in my head is my conflict?
Of course.
So, in other words, the mental process is I then look at my own instances of conflict.
Not mental process.
Well,
that's what I am
happens in the brain?
objecting to. It is not a mental process. You have, please listen. You have taught me the art of listening. The art of listening, you have shown me, is to listen to you, not to the description. You have shown me to listen to you and not make an idea of what I listen to. So I don't do any of that. You have taught me only to listen. I listen to music, Beethoven. I don't draw any conclusion, any romance, any picture, any image. Just the sound, the beauty of just that sound. Now, I've learned that. It's in my blood. It isn't just a habit. And you say to me, live a life without conflict. The immediate response is to the fact that I live in conflict. Right? Conflict. I want, I don't want, I am jealous, I'm not jealous, I hate and I love, I am contradicting conflict. Right? The immediate response from what you have said is, I'm listening to the conflict in myself. Right?
If there is conflict.
I'm saying, I'm listening to the conflict. Listening in the same way I've listened. I've learned the art of listening. Therefore, I'm listening to that. Without translating it, without rationalizing it, without justifying it, without saying I must not, I must. You follow? None of that. I'm absolutely listening to that. Right? Are you doing it?
When you listen with that intensity, that if there is conflict,
no, don't abstract. Please be careful. Don't draw a conclusion. Are you doing it? That means, have you learned the art of listening? Not to the description, to the translation, but just the art of listening. Then, when you have learnt it, then I come along and say, look, live a life without conflict. Listen to that. Not an abstraction from that. Not a conclusion, not a translation. Oh, how can I live in this world without conflict? Those are all avoidance of the fact, which means that you're not listening. So can you listen to that statement that you are, that live without a conflict? When I listen to that, I am fully aware, completely aware of the fact of conflict. That is, my struggle with you, my ambition, and so I'm aware of that. It's not an abstraction. Pain isn't an abstraction. Toothache isn't an abstraction.
When you say toothache isn't an abstraction, probably none of us have a toothache at the moment.
Of course not.
So what is
I've
happening?
got one.
So what is happening?
It's not toothache, it's like pain. Go on. Huh?
Yes. So that statement, none of us can...
But this is so...
No, but what is that? What's happening?
What?
When we hear that statement and we look at it in this way.
And that's the difference. You say, at this moment I'm not in conflict. Therefore, I have to invite conflict. Right? Which is an abstraction. I am saying, listen to the fact of conflict. And that listening to the fact brings up the whole structure of my conflict. Obviously. Then, what takes place? I'm asking now, is conflict a habit? Obviously. You follow? I've accepted it. I said, yes, that's the way I have to live in life. I say, it's only the idiots or the saints or some neurotic man that says he can live without conflict. So it's a habit. So I said, by Joe, look what I've done. I've listened to you in that way, and I've discovered a very deep-rooted habit. Right? Discovered it, not been told. Right? So can I listen to that habit? Not want to get rid of it, suppress it, go beyond it, and all kind. Just listen to that habit of living in conflict. Then I see it is, you follow? That it can be lived completely, it is possible. But I can only do this if I actually learn, as I learn Italian, Russian, whatever it is, learn the art of listening. And I want to teach the student that art. It's 1:10. We'll go on after a while.
So we have to go into that every time somebody crosses their... Is that it?
No, you throw a brick at it.